Go ahead.
Welcome in to another edition of Press Box Live, the baseball chat. Stan the Fan, Luke Jackson, both the Press Box and PressBoxOnline.com. And with us is our special guest each and every week during the baseball season. That is the old left-hander, Ross Grimsley. Ross, how are you? How was your off
Wonderful,
season?
Stan.
How was
It was
your off
great.
season?
It was well, the basic stuff you get when you get older. As a senior,
Yeah.
we have the
Give me
same
give,
stuff.
give me some of the basics because I wouldn't know anything about being a
Oh,
senior.
oh God, I can tell. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bet you can.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
hey, we welcome a new sponsor on with us in addition to the Costas Inn, which we'll talk about midway through the show. The Costas Inn with two great locations, but we welcome in good friend of mine. But if you've been injured in a crash in and around Baltimore, you want to get one of the big boys. You don't want to play with the small guys. You want to get the big guy, and that's Byron Warnken. The law offices of Byron Warnken. The phone number is 443 results, and he's got that number for a reason because he gets results for his clients. Or go to Warnken. That's WARNKEN, warnkenlaw.com to check out their website and find out how to contact them. Number 443 result. Pass this in. We'll talk about midway through the show. It's another baseball season. It's upon us. I'll start to have my baseball power rankings this coming week. Really, the first week I don't do an extensive one. It's the second week I start because the first week the teams have played like two games, three games, so it
And
doesn't
you
make
have your
much sense.
preliminary rankings out.
Yeah,
You
I have
sent
my
those out.
preliminary
Yeah.
rankings. They're on the website, and I'll have one more preliminary ranking before. Guys, it's been quite a hectic offseason from General Manager Mike Elias. Ross, I'll turn to you first. What do you make of the new look Orioles for 2026?
Well, they got some bats. They should hit some home runs. They should be right up in the top with that. They've strengthened their starting staff. I think they got with Rogers. If he comes back, Bradish, look for him to be really,
Yeah, I
a
think
big,
he's going to really take off.
and Bassett's going to give you innings. Uh, Eflin, hopefully, he threw strikes in spring training. He's around the plate, looked healthy. Uh, I mean, if three of the five of those guys can stay hot, that should help a lot. You
What have
know,
you always thought? What have you always thought of Shane Baz?
he's I watched him pitch, several times. He's got a power arm. He's got a big time curveball when he doesn't try to overthrow it. But his big thing is he tries to throw harder than he has to. It's like a golf swing. You don't have to swing hard to hit it far. You don't have to try to throw hard to throw it hard. And he's a guy that can get out of whack. Hopefully, they worked with his delivery and kind of smoothed it out a little bit where he's not overthrowing. Because when he doesn't overthrow, that breaking ball is unhittable. He throws it in the zone that goes right out, and he can throw it over the plate. But
So,
Hey,
I think he's got
go ahead.
Oh yeah,
Go
that
ahead, Ross.
breaking ball certainly looked good today. I mean, he was up to
yeah,
99 with a sharp curveball,
right.
and that's what they traded for. There's no question.
Yeah, he's got the arm. So I mean, he could give you, he can really be a big help. I think, like I said, I think they're going to score some runs. With the lineup they got, the bullpen. I think, and Stan, you mentioned a little bit about it. I think that's something that's kind of, I wouldn't say a question mark, but I would say a question mark.
I
You've
think
got
that's
two.
absolutely fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got two left-handers in the bullpen, and you got one left-handed starter. And with Aiken down, and the two left-handers you got, I mean, ends left-handers hit 353 off of him last year, and what is it? Wolf? What's his left?
Wolfram. Wolfram.
Wolfram, right?
Yeah.
Left-handers hit 313, so they're better off facing right-handers. So hopefully there's some right-handers that can get left-handers out if that's the case. But I mean, everything. The big thing is guys staying healthy, and I mean, we've already seen guys go down and not only with the Orioles but with other teams. But that's
Yeah.
a big thing. You lose Westberg, you lose uh, well, Aiken. He's a big part of the bullpen,
Yeah,
I
and
think.
Jackson Holiday right now,
Holiday's another one, and then
Kittredge.
yeah,
and
and
Kittredge. Yep.
it's yeah, right.
So, so,
You lost some key guys.
so before I bring Luke into it, we talked off the air just as we were about to go on. What do you think the mindset? Dean Kramer is a pro. He's been a solid soldier here. Do you think he's accepting of this, or is he privately pissed off, or does he go down as a pro, have the right attitude of that? Because when you're pissed off, that doesn't do you any good. You know?
No, I mean you're not concentrating on what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we talked about, I was in the same situation, but I was younger and I
Yeah,
didn't understand. I was, thinking of myself, and he's been around enough, and I think he knows that he could be a big part of the rotation. He can really help out, and explaining it to him. You're not happy, but I think he's a professional enough to go down and do what he's got to do because he's going to get an opportunity. I mean, somebody's going to go down, somebody's going to get hurt, and he's going to be able to step in. He's going to give you some quality innings at times, and he can help out with the runs. I think they're going to score. You need to get guys that throw strikes, that don't walk people, and just able to shut down some innings after you score. So I look for him to go down, do what he's got to do. Again, he's a professional. He's a good guy, and he works hard.
Luke, you and I have talked occasionally during the off season on air, uh, but now you've seen the product evolving over the last 5 6 weeks in Florida. What do you make of this team going ready for opening day?
Yeah, I think as we discussed during the offseason, I thought Mike had to add about 400 innings to the rotation, and I think he did a good job of that. If Eflin is healthy and really ready to roll this year, that 1 year, $10 million deal is going to be a steal.
Yeah,
It's going to be one of the great steals of the offseason for any team. I've always been a bigger Shane Baz fan than most. I've always been a big fan of his arm, and you sort of saw it today with how the ball was coming out of his hand. I've always enjoyed watching Chris Bassett pitch because he's different, right, Ross? He's got
Yep.
6 or 7 different pitchers. He's a true professional pitcher. And then how can you not love Kyle Bradish coming back? And hopefully you can get maybe not a full complement of innings out of him. Maybe it's not 180, but hopefully you can get 150,
buck
160
50,
out of him. And then I think everyone's looking forward to seeing what Trevor Rogers can do with a full season under his belt and the confidence of what took place last year. So I think that his work with the rotation uh, was exactly what was needed. And I think the best thing that happened in camp was that those guys all made it through healthy.
yeah.
And I think they have to be absolutely thrilled that Zach Eflin is this far along in his recovery because when they signed him, I'm probably thinking that
Yeah,
they
they
probably
thought he'd
thought
be ready
day
May,
one.
May 1, something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
and he came to camp firing bullets.
yeah,
And I didn't watch his start against the Yankees, but apparently he looked great.
yeah,
And the curveball was back. The velocity was back to where it should be. He wasn't 90 to 91. He was more 93-ish. That's where he wants to be. So they've got to be thrilled with where their rotation stands right now. Obviously, as Ross said, that can change in a moment.
yeah,
It can change with one pitch, but I think they're probably pretty comfortable about where they are with as comfortable as you can be with a rotation um, on the eve of the regular season starting. Certainly much more comfortable than last year
yeah,
when they had Tomoyuki Sugano and Kate Povich and on and on.
yeah. We need not go back there for long. Um, Ross, one of the guys that I think is going to be a very important member of this staff this year, and I think he's in the right role for him right now, is Tyler Wells. I
Mm.
think we're all fans of Tyler Wells. He hasn't been able to stay healthy, but in this role, if he gets into a routine, and hopefully they're working with him on that, how to prepare to be a relief pitcher. What do you think the upside is for Tyler Wells.
I tell you what, if anybody falters in the closer's role, he can slip right in. I
Yeah.
really, I mean, he's pitched out of bullpen before
Yep.
and had some success, but he's a big, strong, big, tall guy, throws the ball, you got some life on it, but I mean, he can look for him at the back end of the pin to really be a positive thing for him.
How different is it facing Tyler Wells when you're facing him one time in a game rather than kind of getting the beat on him when he was a starting?
Yeah, well, I mean, as a starter, it's a little bit different now than it was decades ago, where the pitcher kind of started off the game and you mixed your pitches. You didn't go after guys at certain times with an out pitch for them. You might feed them something that they can swing at, but yeah, you kind of went along, and then it became a game and a game after the first round. After the first nine hitters you face, now you're not being tricky, but you're going to do things, especially with guys on base. You're going to go to weaknesses more often. As with a starter early in the game, a lot of times, unless you get in a jam, you don't go at weaknesses. You try to get them out different ways. And then if you have to go to it, you go to it. But Wells is a guy, he just has to throw strikes. And then he gets ahead in the count, and now he can throw that screecher or that fastball, which is especially the throat cutter, as Dusty Baker called it. Up here, they swing and miss it because the guys chase it all the time now. So I look for him to really, if he stays healthy, things should really he should really help out the pen.
Luke, the pen, as you alluded to, is a bit of a question mark.
Mhm.
Did you see enough of anybody? And I'm talking about the way the Orioles used to bring up some some pitchers, the way
Mhm.
Storm Davis came up initially, the way Dennis Martinez, Sammy Stewart, they were brought up, they were hoped to be starters, but they started out as relievers.
Mhm.
Did you see anybody down there? I know you weren't down there, but you watched a lot of the games
Mhm.
out of Gibson, Wells, German that can help them this season out of the pen?
Yes, I think all those guys can help out of the pen, and I think Kate Povich can as well.
Yeah,
I think all, and maybe even Dean Kramer at some point. Who
yeah,
knows, depending on what direction the rotation goes. I think all those guys, and I don't know about Brandon Young, but most of those guys in the AAA Norfolk rotation are major league arms and can help in relief. I don't know what their futures as starters are. Like
yeah.
Kate Povich, he's had an opportunity as a starter. I don't know where that's going, but I think he can help you as a multi-inning lefty reliever, a guy who can face the lineup once. And I think the three that you mentioned, Wells, uh, Herman, and Gibson are major league arms. I don't know if they're starters, but I think they can get major league hitters out. I think they have the stuff to do that. Yes,
And a guy I've heard that's really tremendous, and I haven't yet to see him pitch, is DeLeon.
I've seen him a few times, as a
Yeah,
matter
at
of fact.
Aberdeen.
Yes, actually, once at Delmarva and once or twice at Aberdeen. Um,
He's
for
coming
for
though.
lack of a better phrase, he's got good shit. I mean, he
That's a good
All
way to
right.
put it.
um he can get in and out of his delivery a little bit because he can be a little stiff, and he can have command outages where he's sailing along and you're like, oh my goodness, this guy's the next Chris Sanchez. And then he walks three or four batters and it's like, how did we get here? You know what I mean? It's that developmental pattern. But if you see him on the right night, he will look like a Chris Sanchez starter kit. And other nights he'll walk too many guys.
Yeah,
It's real stuff.
he's a work in progress, but
Yes, very much
he's
a work in
but he is
progress. Yes.
coming. He
Yes.
is coming. Okay. Um, Luke, you've got a good look at this lineup. How much more productive should this lineup be this year than it was last
Well, I think one of Mike's best moves, and I don't mean to rag on the kid, but was getting off of the Grayson Rodriguez roller coaster and adding a professional hitter in Taylor Ward, who I think is going to help this team, and sort of hopefully can provide what Tyler O'Neill didn't last year in a lot of ways, and can sort of replace what Ramon Laureano did provide in also a lot of ways. So I think he'll help. And he's sort of been a forgotten guy with all the additions that they've had, particularly the Alonso addition. And look, I mean, Alonso last year, it was a pretty standard issue Alonso season. It was 80 extra base hits. And if he can give them that in the middle of their lineup, that's going to help the team, obviously, and that's going to really help Gunnar Henderson. It's going to
Yeah.
take pressure off of him. There's
Yeah.
no question.
Does all this, Ross, does it take some of the pressure off of Rutschman finally, maybe?
That's a good point.
Really, I mean, he's had a bunch the last few years, and
Well, the last year and a half has been
yeah,
dastardly, you know.
yeah, and it. I mean, he was.
He hasn't, to use Luke's expression, he hasn't had good shit the last year and a
Yeah,
half,
no.
sadly.
I don't know if some of that is due to injuries
Yeah,
or anything else that's going on, but yeah, this guy came up. He was a outstanding receiver, really, and he completely went the other way. Swung the bat very well, and he just something happened. I don't know what it was. Now you got a bunch of catching people on that team, which can be good, can be bad, because everybody's got a different idea of how to do it. So
yeah.
hopefully they got one and they stick with it. But Rushman, the thing that's a little concerning, you got two catchers and both of them are playing. So something happens here.
So let me ask you something, Ross. If you were
Yeah,
a manager and you had the setup that the Orioles have, where you have two catchers that, again, are going to play a lot, and most nights are going to both play, would you want a third catcher as the last guy in
absolutely,
the bench?
absolutely. I mean, I'm surprised that you don't have one, but uh, what some of the other issues with the outfield? I mean, who's going to play center field? And I think with the injuries, you got Kowser, who will probably start out playing center field. You got O'Neill, and who's the
You
other?
got Beavers, but
Beavers, but isn't he hurt? Did he have a knee
Yeah, he's got
problem
a
or
knee.
something?
Apparently, he's progressing. I don't know where. I'm sure they'll update us on that.
Right. They were
Right.
supposed to know something or do something today, and that's the reason I
Yeah,
asked you
I think
earlier.
he did a light workout yesterday, meaning
Yeah.
Sunday, before the Nationals game. And I'm guessing I mean, they're going to have to make a decision pretty
yeah.
soon on whether to
Yeah.
carry him on the active
Well,
roster.
and the other outfielders are Alexander can play the outfield, but it looks like he's going to play
Yeah,
second.
And
yeah, it
Tavares,
appears that way. Oh
Tavares,
yeah, Leody Taveras is in the
Leody
outfield,
Tavares.
Yeah,
and
and
He'll be
then you
on the
got
roster. And the
then you got Jack.
guy that won't be on the roster again, also injured, is Heston Kjerstad.
right.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that and who's the other guy? I'm trying to think of. I can't think of him. But
Jeremiah Jackson.
Jackson. Yes.
Yeah,
I,
Jackson can play a little bit of
yeah.
outfield.
Is
Yeah,
See
he
that home
got
run
a
he hit yesterday? That's a big boy home run.
yeah.
Is he got a
Right
chance of
center.
making this team?
Who, Jackson?
I think he
Yeah.
will.
Yeah, I think he's hit well enough to make the team. I
Yeah.
think Ramos should make the team.
I think Ramos probably gives him more positional flexibility,
Yeah,
because one of the issues with the roster right now is that Jackson Holiday, he won't be long, but he's like the backup shortstop.
right.
And
Yeah.
so right now, I don't think they have a backup short. I mean, Blaze
It's
Alexander can
probably
play a little,
Alexander right now.
right, and you might want a better shortstop backing up Gunner
Right.
than
Well,
Alexander. And that would be
you
Ramos.
also late in ball games, I'd much rather have Brian Ramos uh, at third base
Right.
in the eighth and ninth
Or
inning.
at second with Blaze Alexander going to third.
Yeah,
The one thing I didn't know this until I watched spring training. Uh, Alexander has really good defensive tools. He's
yeah.
got good hands. He's got a
He's
great arm.
yeah.
I mean, the ball comes out of his hand really, really easy. I mean, he rockets across the diamond.
He's a nice athlete. I
What's
like
his
him.
best position?
Probably
Uh,
second or third. He's like, and I assume
and he
that,
can play a little bit of the outfield and not
Yeah.
yeah,
hurt you.
yeah, I assume, I mean, based on Alexander's skill set, he's a right-handed hitting infielder whose best positions are second and third. I assume that Mike knew that something was going on with Jordan Westburg when he made that move.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah,
And
I would agree
it
with.
was probably good work by Mike to not let that get out, frankly.
Yep, yep. And the irony of that is we all kind of scratched our heads and said, Tate Stroud's like the best Oriole pitching prospect we've
Right.
had in the Elias era. and he's got an ERA north of 10 with the Diamondbacks so far this.
Well, I have to assume I haven't looked at his numbers. I assume that he's walking too many guys,
Yeah,
which was always his bugaboo. But in that 2 month stint with the Orioles, he didn't really walk anybody,
yeah,
and so that's when the Orioles decided to cash out on him.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Smart move. Smart move. Let's take a timeout right now. We'll come back with a little bit of prediction segment about where the Orioles stand within their own division. Okay. Guys, I know it's been a while and you may be rusty, but could I get a show of thumbs?
Only if Ross brings his thumbs up.
I
There we
got
go.
him. I
All right.
got him.
Costinson, 6 thumbs up as usual on the show. They've been a sponsor and really friends of mine for close to 30 years. They've been in business at North Point Boulevard for over 50 years, 53 to be exact. I think it's 53 or 54 years. It's exactly a year ago that Costas passed away, the matriarch of the family, Costas Triantopoulos. The boys are doing a great job. Marianne's doing a great job running the business. Now with two locations, the North Point Boulevard location, 4100. That's where you can get steamed crabs any time of the year, provided you call 410-477-1975 to reserve the crabs that you want for your group or party. Make sure they've got the right size you want, the price you want, and the availability you need. So the Costas Inn, located at 4100 North Point Boulevard. The location at Timonium got the same great menu, except I can't get them to put the pork chops on
I
the
was going to
menu.
ask about that.
Yep, they still haven't done it for me. I
Oh,
guess those menus are a little expensive
I'm
once you
going to be
printed
I'm
them
going to
up.
be up there in June.
We're
Maybe
gonna
up in May. And
we're gonna work on Pete together to get the
yeah,
pork
really,
chops done.
right,
All right.
exactly.
Anyway, great location now at Timonium. They got big signs all over the place now. Big pole sign on Timonium Road as you get off 83. You make the left-hand turn into the Timonium racetrack. That's where the Costas Inn is, above the racetrack and right next to the OTB there at Timonium. Guys, we know the Orioles are improved. We know they're going to do better than last year because that was a huge disappointment, a huge bummer for everybody. Um, but where do they stand in this division? Ross, where do you see
Yeah,
them? Can they contend with the three big boys, Toronto, New York,
yeah.
and Boston?
I tell you, Boston's improved. The
Yep.
Yankees improved. Uh,
Toronto
who's that?
got Dylan Cease.
Toronto is really. I mean, they're looking good too. Tampa Bay is. They stayed healthy all spring. I know that. I heard that firsthand, so I
Okay.
know that.
And they're
But
excited. They're excited apparently about playing back at the Trop.
back in Tropicana, oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
a
tell you what,
beautiful looking.
I tell you what, nothing will make you appreciate the Trop more than playing in the Florida humidity for 6 months, right?
Oh
Right.
yeah,
Right.
really, really. But no, the Orioles can again the injury situation that is so huge, and but the Orioles they can I see them staying. They three of those starters can stay hot. They're right in the fight. They're
Yeah,
right in the
in the
fight.
words of Buck Showalter, if they pitch well, they'll be right there.
Yeah.
And I
Sure.
think they have a much better chance to pitch well out of the
I,
rotation
if
than this time last
Rogers
year.
can, if he comes back and does what he did, even close to what he did, I mean, he
Right.
was outstanding. Bradish is Bradish. Eflin, if he stays healthy and continues to do what he's doing, Bass is going to give you innings. And Boz is the guy that could, I mean, he could be tremendous.
He's the X
But
factor. Yeah.
He's
yeah,
the
but if
X
he stays
factor. They
500
think they think they've
again,
got an ace in Boz, don't they?
yeah,
Yeah.
and it might not be this year, but he can keep you in games. So I see no reason why the Orioles can't contend for the top spot.
We haven't
Uh,
even talked about one player. And I was thrilled the other day when he hit two home runs in a game. Sammy Basayo. When I saw him, what we saw last year was a short, a little photograph of him. I just thought he was still in a little bit over his head. He
Sure.
at times he really hit the ball well, made incredible contact. Speed doesn't overwhelm him at all.
Mhm.
In fact, he turns it around pretty good. And then when I was in spring training, I didn't see him do anything. But then he hit a home run, and then he hit two the other day. Luke, how good can Sammy Basayo be?
Well, we were talking about Shane Baz as the X factor of the pitching staff. This
Yeah,
guy's the X factor of the
of the
offense.
offense. Yeah,
Because like his exit velocity numbers, his raw power, as you said, his ability to turn around big time velocity, it's all top end for his age.
yeah,
And it's one of the best natural talents that they've had uh, come through their system along with guys like Machado and Henderson. Like it's
yeah.
that
It's that
extreme, like
level.
the
Yeah,
talent. But it's about whether he can put it together at the major league level at a young age while catching 2 to 3 times a week, right? And that's a challenge.
yeah,
And we've seen with Rutschman, you can get beat up behind the plate. You know, I was watching the game today. He took a foul tip off the knee. Those are the kind
Yeah.
of things that don't happen if you're in right field or at first base. It's a tough position. And as we've seen with Adley, it can affect your production at the plate. There's no question about it. And so how he manages that and how he catches over the course of a full season, this is a big dude. This is a large human being. How does he hold up behind the plate throughout a 6 month season in Baltimore? And in some of those months in Baltimore, as you know, Ross, it's not easy a place to catch, right? It's
No,
hot. I
it
mean, it
gets
is,
hot. It gets
and
cooking. Yeah.
and
It
so
gets
and that
hot.
can affect your bat as well on the other side
Yeah.
of it. So
what
And
what
he's a new guy.
yeah,
He's new. He's learning. He's going to be learning as he goes along. It's just how quick he picks
but
things
yeah,
up.
to our point, there's some unknown there,
if
Yeah.
but
if
the bat can be potentially special.
if healthy, how many games does he catch? Is the number like about 40?
What do you think? I was
Oh,
thinking like
gee.
55 to 60.
Yeah.
With Adley, the better question might be, where do you want Adley?
It's depending to me with what they have with Beavers, with O'Neill if he's healthy, and I think he's primed for a really solid year this year. Um, there'll be some mystifying things he does on the bases and throwing the ball, but and defensively. But to me, I think he's primed for a good year. If Adley's not hitting, I don't know that I want him DHing an awful lot. You
Right.
Yeah.
know, I think they can do better than uh and that brings us to the $64,000 question. We'll finish with this. I wrote it again last night. That's an old quiz show, the
Okay.
$64,000 question.
Yeah.
All right. What
Um,
was the quiz show? I've not.
it
Well,
was a quiz show
when did
back
this
in.
air?
It was the $64,000 question
When?
Back
What
in
decade was
'64.
this?
back in probably in '64.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Do you remember the movie Robert Redford directed called The Quiz Show?
No.
About the
Yeah. Yeah.
$64,000 quiz show.
Okay.
Yes.
It turned out it was somewhat fixed.
Right.
But anyway,
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
$64,000 question
So don't bet on it.
is
It's the that's the okay. All
why
right.
is Ryan Mountcastle still on this team?
Check it out on PressBoxOnline.com, and
Thank
Stan
you.
dives into this very topic,
There you
Thank
and
you.
you
go.
can check it
Thank
out
you.
there.
All right, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Ross, last prediction. Orioles a playoff team this year?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think they have all the tools to do it, pitching and hitting. Again, injuries are big, especially if Westberg comes back. Westberg, I think he is one of the big parts of this team, and he comes back. That should
And I
really.
think that'll be part of the story too. Third base, can Kobe Mayo play well enough there
That's another
to at
thing.
least
Yeah.
get them to the sixth or seventh inning in games
Yeah.
that they're ahead, and you can take them out for a better defender at that point. Like
Yeah.
that'll be
Right. Right.
the story.
I
Um,
think, Luke, you think the Orioles are a playoff team?
I think they're in a position where if things go right, more right than last year, then they're a
Mhm.
playoff team. I think that, you know what I mean? Um,
I'm
I like,
looking, despite the big acquisition of Dylan Cease, they've got Yesevich, who's on the IL to start
right.
the
Right.
season, and
Bichette's gone.
I think some of that with Yesevich is the wear and tear of pitching into late October,
Right.
probably played into that. But I'm looking for a regression of that team. I I don't I
They
don't
had a
know
lot
that
of
they're
guys around Vlad Guerrero last year have
yeah.
really big years that you wouldn't expect to have big years. So I don't know how that's going to play out. I mean, they got plenty of money if they're in it to make more additions at the deadline.
Yeah, we'll see.
Um,
I think the Orioles are a playoff team. I think they are. All right, guys, appreciate it. We'll start in earnest next Monday again at 5 o'clock. That'll be our pretty much regular time, if Ross can do that. So week to week, we might change the time here and there, but looking forward to talking baseball with both of you. Welcome our new sponsor, Warnken Law. 443 results or warnkenlaw.com. If you've been injured in a crash around the Baltimore area, you want to play hardball and get results. And Warnken Law, the folks there can do it. And we're also brought to you by our friends at the Costas Inn. They get 6 thumbs up
always a
from
thumbs
us
up.
guys.
Always
All right.
thumbs up.
We'll talk soon, guys. Have a good one.
I do.